Hey, sixth graders, we are back with the volume of triangular prisms today. So yesterday we did cubes and rectangular prisms. Today is following a lot of the same rules, so you'll see it's a lot the same. We just have one little thing that is going to be different. So the first thing here is it gives us our formula. Again, this formula looks just like it did for rectangular prisms, but our big B today is going to be different because our base is going to be a triangle instead of a square or a rectangle. So they show us a pretty little triangular prism right here. And it has a couple little blurbs for us. First, it says that the height is over on the side, and our base this time is whatever the triangle is. So sometimes they set it on top of the triangle like this one so that the triangle actually looks like it is the base. And sometimes they make it like over here where it's actually setting on a rectangle down here, but that's not our big B. Our big B isn't that rectangle. Our big B this time is always going to be our triangle. So we find the triangle first, then we multiply it by the height. So in this one, our height would be this side right here. So you kind of have to like picture it in your mind, like tipping it up so that the triangle is the bottom. Like that's how it should stand. So now down here, we're going to look at some of the steps. It says to find the volume of a triangular prism. Our first step is we write our formula. So our formula, we said, is big B, or our base, times the height. Our big B, though, in this one, is going to be how we find a triangle. And we know our formula for a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So I actually have to do, instead of my big B here, my big B equals my base times height divided by 2, because that's how we find the area of a triangle. Then my height is going to be the long one over here. So we're first going to find our triangle, then our height. So on this one, let's go ahead and plug these in and kind of see it step by step. So to find this blue triangle over here, we have our base is 6 and our height is 7. So we know we have to do 6 times 7 divided by 2, because half of 6 times 7 is the same thing as 6 times 7 divided by 2. So 6 times 7 gives me 42. So let's see. Then 42 divided by 2, which I know this looks like a fraction, but that just means divided by 2, is going to get me 21. Now all of this was just to find my big B. I just found that this is 21, but I still have to multiply it by the height, which is 10. So now I'm going to go ahead and take 21 times 10, which we know if we multiply or divide by 10 or 100, it's just adding or taking away that many zeros. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a 0 to 21. So I get my volume for this triangular prism is 210 inches, and since it's volume, we have to add our cubed. So step 1 is find our big B, which is base times height divided by 2. That's our triangle. And then we take our triangle and we have to multiply it by the whole height. So now a couple of more examples just so you can practice looking at this. Both of these, they're trying to trick you because they're laying the triangular prism on its side. So at first glance, you think, oh, this is easy. This is my base down here because that's on the bottom. But no, we know, since we see that triangle, I'm going to erase that. We're not looking at that as my base. My base is the triangle. So I'm looking at this right here. I have to find my triangle first. So my big B is base times height divided by 2. So 5 times 8 divided by 2. 5 times 8 gives me 40 divided by 2. So my big B ends up being 20. Now I still have to multiply it by the height. My height is the same on all the sides. So 12 is here, 12 is here, 12 is here. The height is the same all the way across. So I can use this 12 over here. That's fine. It's all going to be 12 high. So now I have to do 20 times 12. Do a little bit of math here. And then we get 240, and we have to remember to add on our label. Our label up there is mm, that means millimeters, so it's millimeters, and then we always add on cubed because it's a volume. Okay, for this last one, I want you to pause the video and I want you to try and set up. So our big B is what we're finding first, so I want you to try and find the triangle. We know how to find the area of a triangle. So try and find this area of this triangle first and try and set up our formula. Now I'm going to go ahead and do it. I hope you paused it and tried to do it on your own. So I have 4 times 5 divided by 2, because that's going to get me my triangle. 4 times 5 is 20 divided by 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So my triangle, just my base over here, is 10, and I still have to multiply it by the height. Remember, I know it looks weird because it's laying down, but you have to think that's the last of the measurements that we haven't done yet. So we're going to have to take 10 times the height, which is 7. So we get 70, and we add our label, inches cubed. We will keep practicing these, but I wanted to show you. Go ahead and flip this page. It's a packet, and the inside pages also have some examples. So if you're looking at this page, they do several really good examples for you, showing you finding big B and then multiplying it by the H. So if you felt like you didn't understand after the couple that I did, take a moment and look at a few of these examples because they will help you out a lot. And here's the third page. And they just have really good examples also where they're finding the triangle first and then multiplying by the height. The last thing that I want you to see down here is they have both of the prisms that we've learned. So we have a rectangular prism and we have a triangular prism. So they kind of show you over here length times width times height. We talked about that's not what we're going to use because that's not the formula that we're going to see. We're going to see that length times width is really big B and then times height. So it's base times height. Same thing down here. They do 1/2 times base times height. We know that all of that is our base because that's helping us find our triangle. So it's base times height divided by 2. That just gets us our triangle. Then we still have to multiply that times the height. So just finding either the rectangle or the square first, or the triangle if it's a triangular prism, and then multiplying it by the height the last. Go ahead and make sure you keep track of this because we're going to do some of the examples on the back page and also put it into our notes. So don't lose this, keep track of it, and I will see you soon.